This is my camera bag, and today we're going to talk about everything inside of it. What's going on, everyone? This is Dwayne from Daring Depictions coming at you with another video. Before we even start out this video, I want to say that this video is not to show off in any way, shape, or form. I'm still a beginner photographer / filmmaker myself, and if we're being honest, my gear isn't even really that cool yet. With that being said, it did take me over a year to gather all this gear, so if you don't have as much gear as I have, or I have a better camera, or whatever it may be, don't feel bad. It's a process. It takes time. So, sit back and relax, and let's go through my everyday camera bag. So to kick it all off, let's actually talk about the camera bag itself. It's nothing fancy. I got it on Amazon for like $50. It came in all different types of colors. They had a black, they had a gray, but I went with the green because I thought it was the coolest out of the bunch. The inside of the bag is this bright orange, and all the compartments are held together with Velcro. One cool thing about this bag is that I can configure it however I want. For instance, if I have a real estate shoot or I'm shooting a wedding, I can change the bag to whatever setup I need. But in today's video, we're just going to be talking about my normal everyday setup. Another cool thing about this bag is that it came with this black rain cover. I've personally never had to use it, but it's nice to know that if I do get caught out in the rain, all my gear will be protected. But at the end of the day, it's just a bag. As long as it holds and protects my gear, I'm cool with it. Moving right along, let's talk about what's actually in the bag. We're gonna start with my camera of choice. This is the Sony A6400. It's actually my first ever camera, and my wife actually bought it for me. This is what I film all my videos on and take all my pictures with. Well, except for this video. I actually ended up renting a camera for this video so that I could show you what's actually in my camera bag, and obviously my camera is gonna be in my camera bag, so I had to, well, you get the point. This thing is a trooper. No, it's not a full frame camera, but don't let that fool you. This camera comes packed with so many features. I think it's the perfect camera for beginner filmmakers. This thing shoots in 4K all the way up to 30 frames per second, and in 1080p this thing actually goes all the way up to 120 frames per second. It has a 24 megapixel crop sensor, which is more than enough for a camera like this. So in post I can actually crop with this camera. Although I try to stay away from the cropping because that can ruin the resolution of your image. Another cool thing about this camera is that it comes with all the picture profiles I would need as a filmmaker. I could talk about this camera for days, but we have so much to cover in this video. But let me know if you guys want a full in-depth review on the Sony A6400. Since the Sony A6400 is an APS-C camera, I obviously had to get APS-C lenses. I have 5 lenses in total. 2 zooms, 3 primes. I bought 2 zoom lenses when I got my A6400. I think zoom lenses are a great pickup for any beginner, because if you get a zoom lens with a big enough focal range, you can play with that and see which focal ranges are your favorite to film / shoot with. Which is why when I got my camera, I got 2 zoom lenses to go along with it. I got the Sony 10 to 18mm f4, and I got the 18 to 105 f4. We'll start with the 10 to 18. I already made a full in-depth review on this lens, so we'll keep it short and sweet. To be honest, I only got this lens for one reason, and that's because I wanted to get into real estate photography and videography. I've taken this lens on a couple of shoots with me, and I have to say, it didn't disappoint. Actually, no, I lied. I got this lens for one other reason. If I ever decided to vlog, this would be my lens of choice. This is the Sony 18 to 105 f4. I've already made a review video on this lens if you want to check that out. Like I said before, I got this lens the same day I got my camera. And this thing lived on my camera for a good 4 to 5 months. Honestly, since I got my primes, I haven't really been using this thing as much. But before I started shooting with my primes, me and this lens were inseparable. This is the one lens I can shoot anything with. If I could only have one lens, this would be the lens that I pick. Once I really dive heavy into filmmaking, I'm sure this lens will make a resurgence. Let's get into my prime lenses now. We'll start with the Sigma 16mm f1.4. I've already made a review video on this lens, so you can go check that out if you want a full in-depth review. If I'm being honest, this is my least used lens because if I'm shooting something that requires a wide angle, 9 times out of 10, I'm reaching for the Sony 10 to 18mm because it gives me a wider field of view and it's an f4 lens. And you know me, if I'm shooting wide, I'm stopping down. So yeah, this lens doesn't really get much playtime, even though it is sharper than the Sony 10 to 18. Moving on to the Sigma 30mm f1.4. This is my absolute favorite lens, and it's actually the lens I'm using to film this video. I absolutely love the look 30mm gives you on an APS-C sensor. 30mm on a crop sensor camera is the equivalent to 45mm on a full frame camera. And that's right under the 50mm focal length that most photographers seem to love. I guess you could call this lens my nifty 50. This is the lens I shoot all my YouTube videos with, and when I'm shooting a wedding, this is the lens that's on my camera about 60% of the time. And on DxOMark.com, this lens was actually rated #1 for Sony APS-C cameras. If that doesn't tell you how great this lens is, I don't know what will. This little guy is a Sigma 56mm. This is the lens that I have on my camera the other 40% of the time that I'm shooting weddings. This is my go-to portrait lens. 56mm on a crop sensor camera is actually 84mm on a full frame camera. That's literally right under the 85mm focal length that most portrait photographers love. The separation you get from your subject and the background with this lens is unreal. I might be a little biased because I absolutely love portrait photography, but this lens has to be in the top 3 for me. Moving on to my stabilizer of choice. This is the DJI Ronin S. I know some people are wondering to themselves why I didn't go with the smaller, more compact Ronin SC since I have a smaller crop sensor camera. Truth is, when I bought this gimbal, I wanted to make sure it could handle the weight of a full frame camera as well as the weight of full frame glass, which is significantly heavier than APS-C glass. I figured it was better to just future-proof my gimbal instead of having to buy a brand new one when I inevitably get a new camera. But all that aside, the DJI Ronin S has been an absolute dream to use. No, it's definitely not the smallest piece of equipment to lug around, but every time I get to pull this thing out, I get a little excited. This thing comes packed with so many different features, but unfortunately, we won't be able to get into them because we have so many other things to talk about. But I will say, I absolutely love the Ronin app that comes with this gimbal. It makes setting it up super easy. While we're on the topic of stabilization, I guess we could talk about my tripod. I can't really show it to you right now because it's currently being used to hold up the camera, but it's a K&F concept tripod. I'm not really sure the model number, so I'll throw that on the screen. But the tripod has been solid for me. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a tripod, and I wasn't really expecting much from it. When I was looking for a tripod, I was looking for 3 things. It had to be lightweight, portable, and reasonably priced. This specific tripod checked all 3 of those boxes, so I picked it up. Everyone knows that audio is just as if not more important than video. People can forgive you for having lackluster video quality, but having bad audio is unforgivable. That's why I picked up the Rode Video Micro. Again, you can't see it because I'm currently using it to record this audio right now. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can get it in frame real quick. See, this is what I record all my audio with for my YouTube videos, and it hasn't let me down. This $60 mic has changed the game for me. Let me know how it's sounding, by the way. The mic is quick and easy to use. You literally just take the jack and plug it straight into your camera. You don't have to worry about turning the mic on or switching out the batteries because the mic is actually powered by the camera. You literally just plug the mic in and press record. If you're still using the regular old in-camera microphone, please do yourself a favor and pick this mic up. It's relatively inexpensive. So go ahead, spend the money and level up your audio game. Moving on to my drone of choice. This is the DJI Mini 2. This is my first ever drone. I literally picked this thing up less than a week ago, and based on my research, it's the best beginner drone. So I don't really have much to say about it, but based on a few flights that I have taken with this thing, I discovered that I really do enjoy flying drones. Also, flying a DJI drone is really intuitive. I just picked this thing up last week and I already feel really comfortable flying this thing. The only thing this drone is missing is a log profile. But again, it is a beginner drone, so I can't expect all these advanced features out of it. I always carry those two aperture lights with me. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and grab one. These things are super small and compact. They're bicolor as well as full RGB. And the cool thing about these lights is that they have an app with. Oh, what happened? Oh, looks like this light died. And one cool thing about these lights is that they come with an app called Sidus Link. And the app gives you full control over the light. You can decide if you want it to be 6500 Kelvin or 3200 Kelvin. Or you want it red, you can make it red. You want it blue, you can do that as well. These lights also came with this really cool diffuser. You just pop it in and now you got really soft diffused light. Another cool thing about these lights is that they actually have magnets on the back, so you can stick them to any metal surface. Another thing I carry with me is my 2TB SSD. This is the Samsung T7. This thing is really fast and I've never had an issue editing on it. I also picked up this gray little pouch from Amazon that I stick on the back of my laptop, so that way I can slide my SSD into it so it's not just hanging around off my laptop. This is just a small, no-name SD and micro SD card holder. I saw it on Amazon for like 10 bucks. And I figured why not. I believe it's water and dust resistant. It holds up to 12 regular size SD cards and 24 micro SD cards. Again, I got this thing off Amazon for like 10 bucks. It does its job, so I'm happy with it. Now, this is one of the most important things I keep with me in my camera bag. And that's a lens cloth. I always keep a lens cloth with me. It's nothing fancy, just a regular old cloth. It's one of those things that you think doesn't really matter until you need one and you don't have it. I forgot this thing one time on one of my real estate shoots, and in the lower left corner of the video, you can see the smallest speck of dirt on my lens. I didn't notice it until I got back home and started editing it, and when I tell you my heart dropped when I saw that speck of dirt on my lens. But the video still turned out well. Moral of the story, carry a lens cloth with you. I should probably also pick up one of those sensor dusters. I'm gonna do that soon. This is my laptop of choice. It's a 2019 16-inch MacBook Pro. I edit all my photos and all my videos on this thing. This thing has been an absolute workhorse for me in these last couple of years. I actually believe that this is the most expensive thing in my camera bag, which is why I don't take it with me on every shoot. I cannot afford this thing being stolen or even worse, damaged. The only time I'll bring my laptop with me is if I'm shooting something really important and I need to back up my footage/photos on site. I can't remember what the exact specs of my laptop are, but I'll put it up on screen. Well, that's it. That's everything in my camera bag. We went through the camera, we went through the lenses, I showed you my stabilizer, we showed you the drone, I showed you a few of my accessories, and I showed you my laptop. Let me know what you guys think of my collection. Also, I want to hear what you have in yours. Sound off in the comments below and let me know what type of gear you're carrying. But that's it. Again, this is Dwayne from Daring Depictions. Peace. Ooh.